was asked to speak on UVA testing and a bit about cosmetics as well as cancer and sunscreens. I've decided after looking at a lot of what's happening on the internet to rather not talk about the cancer part relating to cosmetics. And the reason for that is while I was doing my research, I don't know how many of you have actually looked at the web to see what is going on with cosmetics. There is quite a lot of activity there, and a lot of the surrounding sunscreens and cosmetics being under attack with very toxic phrases that I was quite shocked to read about. Words such as toxic, harmful chemicals, gender bending, cancer causing, breast cancer causing, bladder causing, and therefore decided I will rather talk on what I specialize in. After reading all these venomous sayings, one saying came to mind: fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And to translate that a bit further, we don't know it all. It is very important for us to look at what is out there and to not judge before we've had all our facts in a row. And therefore, I'm asking for scientists, journalists, and medical researchers to look at these information and realize that they've got a very great responsibility, especially to the South African consumer, to make sure that we give them our best knowledge and not to educate and not to give them positive and negative feedback where they don't know what to distinguish about. As you all know, our consumers are very uneducated compared to the first world countries, and we need to carry out a very clear message to them, giving them confusing positive and negative information. I do not believe is the best for them at this stage. We have so many disadvantages in this country and so many health issues that I think we need to focus and we need to all work together to come up with the best and the basic messages to make sure that we convey the right information to them. I believe that the cosmetic industry has moved along quite a lot in the recent years, and that it's amazing to see how it's opened up international borders and where we have sat around tables in international levels writing international standards for cosmetics. And I believe it's the right place to start working and for us all to harmonize and for all of us to work together in order to make sure that cosmetics, the message of cosmetics in cancer and all comes out with the right message. And after saying that, I would now go ahead and explain more about UVA testing and where I get involved in. Let's start looking at the sunscreens and the history of sunscreens. Years ago, sunscreens were there to beautify, to bronze. I think all of us remember the nice tanning, bronzing ads that we saw. We all remember the little girl with the pants being pulled down. All these sunscreens were mainly oil-based, and they had one message: to tan or to bronze or to beautify. Before we go ahead and see where cosmetics is these days, I need to explain a few terminologies first of all. There's two concepts. One is called sun tanning or sun browning, which you can see on, I hope I can do it from here. Oh boy, I don't know if you can see, but anyway, it's the lady with the straps at the back. That is called sun tanning or sun bronzing, and in cosmetic terminology we call it persistent pigment darkening. That is caused by UVA radiation. That is the response that we see. On the other side, you see sunburn or erythema. That is your response that you will see from UVB burning or tanning. Let us look at where UV radiation comes from and explain a bit why UVA has become such an important character. There's three categories: UVA, UVB, and UVC. UVC we do not have to worry about. It's a very energetic radiation, and it is absorbed by the ozone layer. That's what they tell me. Whether it still is, I don't know, but the scientist that does look at it tells me, no, we don't have to worry about it. We used to look only at UVB. UVB is this, as we said, the skin response for that is sun. For sun is the burning part, which is the reddening or the erythema, and there are links to cancer for UVB. This has moved into the new area for cosmetics where we now look at UVA testing, and as you can see there's two wavelengths, UVA1 being the longest wavelength and UVA2 being closest to UVB. The response that we were talking about is the browning effect. There's minimal redness to be seen. It does penetrate, it does cause DNA degradation, and there are links to skin cancer. And contrary to belief, it can even penetrate glass. Thus, this has caused an evolution in sunscreens. From our old sunscreens that used to only protect against UVB, was now forced to look at the other categories of where sunscreens need to protect. The two main ones being skin cancer, and the second one where cosmetics focus most of it, premature aging. I think all of you can see the difference between the top and the bottom, and that is called extrinsic effects, or which sun is most probably one of your biggest, to show how a person will age over a period of time with and without a proper routine. The visual effects of UV and sun damage is not always that visible. If you look at the top, that is a very nice picture, and I think most men will start getting a smile now. It's a very nice bronzing, glowing effect. Start looking a bit closer, and that is your middle one, and you can start seeing very uneven skin, pigmentation, and if for those that's experienced can even start seeing the breaking down of elasticity. Looking closer at one of those pigmentation spots, you can really see the damage that is not visible by the eye. Pigmentation spot, changing color, changing size, getting very uneven. The circle around it getting lighter, meaning that it's dehydration, and uneven skin texture and smoothness. Just to show you what you were looking at a bit better, the left-hand side is the enlargement of a healthy skin. That is how your skin should be looked, and that is how it did look before you encountered sun. It's got a very nice basket weave pattern. It is sort of that square block with a little sort of star shape almost inside. On my right-hand side, you will see the pigmentation. That is your dark spots forming. The whiteness here is dehydration. You can see how the basket weave is being pulled and sort of starts breaking down and forming these lines almost. And you can see the uneven skin tone. This is most probably the skin of a 30-year-old, which actually surprises us. It does look quite different. There's definitely behavior between UV spectra and that and the parameters of the skin as being found by Dr. Curtis Skull. And as we can see, the first wavelength is the UVB from 280 to 320, where most of your erythema and redness is happening. There's a lot of activity in melanogenesis and carcinogenesis. And then you can see on your UVA range from 340 to 400, it does sort of reduces, but there's still a lot of activity, especially in your melanosis and your carcinogenesis.